A very good afternoon. It's the 24th of April 2023. Welcome to the lunchtime news here on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Sanita Nayaka. Before we take a look at the stories in detail, let's take a look at the headlines.
Minor tremor reported from the seas of Hambantota. A special meeting at the Department of Examinations on the evaluation of GCE A-level answer scripts. Will power outages return if there is no rain despite electricity tariffs being high? Death toll from Sudan crisis rises to over 420.
On to those stories in detail. A tremor measuring a 4.4 magnitude was reported from the seas of Hambantota on Monday morning.
The Geological Survey and Mines Bureau said the tremor took place some 25.8 kilometers in the southeastern seas of Hambantota at approximately 12:45 am. It was reported that the people from the areas of Vallavidya, Marepara, Thamodagama, Tsunamigammanaya had felt the tremor.
12:45 එකයි 10ට අතර වගේ ඇත්තේ. තුන් පාර දෙදුරුණා. මං හිතලා අර වහර උඩින් කොටයක් වගේ වැටුවා කියලා ඒ උන්ට මං හිතාගෙන නිකන්.
ගේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන් දෙදරලම ගියා. ඊට පස්සේ දැන් තව කට්ටියට කෝල් කරලත් ඇහුවා. ඒවට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලන් හැමතැනම ඔය සිද්ධිය වෙලා තියෙනවා.
ඊයේ රාත්‍රියේ ඔක්කොම කට්ටිය නැගිටලා බලාගෙන හිටියා. භූමිකම්පාව ඇවිල්ලා කියලා. අපේ ළමයි ඔක්කොම මේ ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකට ගියානේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඔක්කොම ළමයි ඔක්කොම දුවගෙන ආවා.
බලගලා වාල සද්දයක් ආවා. මං හිතුවා ෆේන් එක ගැලවිලා වැටෙනවා දාන්න කියලා. අනවර ෆේන් එක නෙවෙයි.
The people of Rakavatangala had also felt the tremor early this morning. The Disaster Management Centre noted that there was no threat to Sri Lanka.
කොහොමhari 12 අමාරත් පහුවලා වගේ ඊට පස්සේ නිකන් 아무තු මේ සද්දයක් ආවා. ඊට පස්සේ මම නිකන් නැගිට ගන්න නිකන් බයක් වගේ හිතුණා. ඊට පස්සේ විනාඩි 5ක විතර මම නැගිටලා ඇවිල්ලා මහත් වෙලාටත් ඒ සද්ද දැනෙන්නද කියලා ඇහුවා.
එක සැරේට සරංගාලා මේ වුණා මම කකුල් දෙකෙන් කරන්ට් එක වැදුණා වගේ මේ ඊට පස්සේ ගේට්ටුව අරගෙන බහිනකොට ගෙදර මෙහෙම ඉස්සරහා තියෙන්නේ මේ නෝනත් නැගිටලා. එයයි කියනවා මේ මොනවද වුණාලු ගේට් තෙල් වුණාලු.
Meanwhile, the tremors were felt in areas around the University of Peradeniya between 12 and 12:30 am.
මේ පිළිබඳව අධ්‍යයනය කරනකොට මේ අපි තෝරාගෙන තියෙන දැනට අපි මේ
If we set up equipments to measure these tremors in the sensitive areas named by our scientists, we will be able to gather more data. Then we can maintain a record of the tremors in Sri Lanka. If we collect that data, we will be able to determine the reason behind these tremors that happen in Sri Lanka.
ඒතොර ඇත්තම අපිට නියම අපේ ලංකාවේ සිද්ධ වෙන කම්පන වල උපයන සාධකයක් හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. කියන්නේ කොහොමද ඇත්තට මේවා හැදෙන්නේ කියලා. කොහොමද මේ භූමිකම්පා අපේ භූමියේ නැත්නම් අපේ භූමිය ආශ්‍රයේ සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එකට හරි විදිහේ නිශ්චිත තීරණයකට අපිට එන්න පුළුවන් අපිට ඒ අවශ්‍ය දත්ත ප්‍රමාණය ඇත්තටම ලැබෙනවා නම්.
In the last few months, earthquakes were reported from several locations in the island. Earthquakes of magnitude 3 and magnitude 3.5 were reported from Vallavaya and Buttala on the 10th of February. On the 11th of February, another earthquake of magnitude 2.3 was reported from Vallavaya. Between 8:45 am and 9 am, several earthquakes occurred in Buttala and Unavattana on the 12th of February. Meanwhile, on the 22nd of February, more earthquakes were reported in Buttala, Palvatta, Anapallama and Vallavaya as well at 3 and 3.5 magnitudes. On the 18th of March, an earthquake of magnitude 2.6 was reported near Kirinda. On the 18th of March, an earthquake of magnitude 2.6 was reported near Kirinda, Palatupana and Hajiyar areas. An earthquake of magnitude 3 was also reported in Timidivava, Bomarankada and Trincomalee as well on the 19th of March.
Meanwhile, a giant 7.3 magnitude earthquake struck off the northeast coast of New Zealand.
New Zealand authorities were investigating whether there was a tsunami warning to follow. It urged all residents near the coast to, quote, move immediately, unquote, instead of waiting for the tsunami review. However, about an hour after the earthquake was recorded, it was revealed that there wasn't a tsunami threat to the country. The earthquake hit at about 12:42 pm in New Zealand. The epicenter appeared to be located around the Kermadec Islands, which is about 500 miles northeast of the New Zealand coast.
Sri Lankans living abroad organized several events marking the 4-year anniversary of the April 21st attacks, demanding justice to the victims.
A mass was held at St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City in memory of the victims of the April 21st attacks, with the participation of Sri Lankans. A silent protest was held opposite St. Peter's Basilica after the mass, demanding justice be served for the victims of the April 21st attacks. Another protest demanding justice for the victims of the April 21st attacks was held in Napoli, Italy.
A meeting of ruling party MPs is to take place this evening at the Presidential Secretariat.
The meeting is slated to take place under the chairmanship of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The parliamentary debate on the IMF Extended Fund Facility and the vote is to be discussed at the meeting. Meanwhile, the parliamentarians from the Samagi Janabalawekaya are also scheduled to meet this evening. Parliamentarian Tissa Naika said that the meeting will focus on matters concerning the Anti-Terrorism Act and other issues.
Students' Union of the Rajarat University, convening a press briefing, said the government is introducing the Anti-Terrorism Act to prevent the public from opposing the government.
Are they expecting to arrest students and people through the anti-terrorism law? When we asked to abolish the PTA, the government made minor changes to it and called it the Anti-Terrorism Act. This government is also attempting to bring in a rehabilitation bill and a National Security Act as well. Who will these laws protect? What terrorism will be prevented? This is not for terrorism, but to suppress the opposition of the people towards the government. This act is to suppress the workers, students and civil society activists who oppose the government. We are against this. Not only student movements, but every citizen will be branded as terrorists. Former Attorney General President's Counsel Dappula Dilivera was summoned before the Terrorist Investigation Division today to obtain a statement regarding the April 21st attacks. Police spokesperson SSP Nihal Talduwa says that former Attorney General President's Counsel Dappula Dilivera had not visited the Terrorism Investigation Division so far.
The former Attorney General, President's Counsel Dappula Dilivera, was summoned to the Terrorist Investigation Division today for the third time. On May 17, 2021, the former Attorney General said that a massive conspiracy was behind the Easter Sunday terror attack. He said that information by the State Intelligence Service with times, targets, places, method of attacks and other information was clear evidence that there was a grand conspiracy in place. Dappula Dilivera said that the identities of those involved in the grand conspiracy must come by the way of evidence. Despite the former Attorney General being summoned to the TID on the 19th of April, he had not visited the TID at the time. The attorney representing the former AG submitted a legal objection and said it is best to clarify facts from the current Attorney General. Samagi Janabalawekaya parliamentarian Harshana Rajakaruna says that he will take the lead in defeating the Prevention of Terrorism Act.
The Anti-Terrorism Act is an act against democracy. We will act against this in Parliament. The international community has criticized this act. We could lose the GSP Plus facility. We are 100% against this.
The minister made these comments while participating in a program to distribute stationery equipment to school children in Kadavatha.
News first with the people.
Speaking at a press briefing held today, head of the indigenous community Uruwarge Vannilatto expressed views regarding the delay in the evaluation of advanced level examination answer sheets. It is true that teachers face certain problems. Students studied hard for the exams, not just during the COVID pandemic. They studied atop trees, looking for internet connection. After all of that hard work, if the exam results are getting delayed, it is not fair. The LOLC Divisavya program, an upliftment initiative aiming to empower school students, continued today as well. Today's program was held in the Vaunia district.
The Dirisavya program focuses on providing books and stationery items to school students from the most economically challenged regions of Sri Lanka. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. Thursday's program took place centering the Vaunia North Education Zone. Students from 31 schools in the Vaunia Pulyakulam Education Zone were also presented with school books and stationery.
In more local news, a protest was staged in Mahavilache today demanding solutions to elephant attacks. The protest was staged by the residents of Mahavilache.
Villages such as Mahavilache, Bannihalabava, Navodagama, Kudasiyambalava, Oyamadu suffer from the issue of encroaching wild elephants for years. Residents of Mahavilache staged a protest at the Tantirimale junction demanding a solution to the issue. A tense situation arose with the arrival of police and wildlife officers prior to the protest. The group dispersed following a promise made by the wildlife officers to chase wild elephants in the area by the evening. We have been suffering from the issue of encroaching wild elephants for many years. If we are not given a definite solution by this evening, we will take further action.
The following views were expressed at a conference held by the Second Generation Movement regarding the Anti-Terrorism Act and the present political situation.
Views regarding the present political situation and the Anti-Terrorism Act were expressed during a conference held yesterday, organized by the Second Generation Movement. The PTA, introduced in 2018, clearly stated that conspiracies to topple the government is prohibited. This includes human and drug trafficking. The Anti-Terrorism Act does not point to them as prohibitions. It does not have a clear definition of terrorism, and there needs to be a punishment for any wrongdoings. Deputy Inspector General of Police have been given powers. The President can impose a curfew if he wants. If he wishes to name something as in banned area, he can even do that.
In some international news, foreign nations are rushing to get their citizens out of Sudan as rival military factions battle in the capital Khartoum, where millions of residents are trapped inside their homes, many running low on water and food.
The eruption of fighting on the 15th of April between the Army and the Rapid Support Forces paramilitary group has triggered a humanitarian crisis, killed at least 420 people and left behind charred tanks, gutted buildings and shops that have been looted and torched. As people attempted to flee the chaos over the weekend, foreign governments began landing aircraft and organizing convoys in Khartoum to pull out their nationals. The United States said special forces using MH-47 Chinook helicopters swept into Sudan's battle-stricken capital from a US base in Djibouti, spending just 1 hour on the ground to bring out fewer than 100 people. United Kingdom Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said on Twitter on Sunday that members of his country's armed forces had completed a complex and rapid evacuation of British diplomats and their families from Sudan. Germany and France announced Sunday that they had begun evacuating their nationals and those from other countries. Other European countries, including Italy, the Netherlands and Greece, also said they were planning rescue efforts. A French plane carrying about 100 people of multiple nationalities landed in Djibouti, according to French President Emmanuel Macron, with a second flight of another 100 people expected to leave Sunday evening.
In more international news, Australia will speed up efforts to buy long-range missiles to counter the growing threat from China, a major defense review.
It warns the country can no longer be protected by its geographic isolation in the missile age. The government will spend some 19 billion Australian dollars to deliver the immediate recommendations. The 110-page report is described as the biggest overhaul of Australian defence since World War II. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the long-awaited Defence Strategic Review is the most significant work that's been done since the Second World War, in a world where challenges to our national security are always evolving. The review comes amid increasing military tension in the region over China's stance towards Taiwan, which it has repeatedly vowed to take by force if necessary. The Chinese Navy has also established a major presence in the South China Sea, claiming parts of it as its own territory, contrary to international law.
Taking a look back at a local news, a while back the chief of the indigenous community expressed views regarding the delay in the evaluation of advanced level answer sheets. Now the Department of Examination says a special discussion will be held today regarding the evaluation of answer scripts of the 2022 A-level examination. Examinations Commissioner General Amit Jayasundara says the paper marking supervisors have been called to the department for this purpose. He adds that the practical exams related to the subjects of home economics, Karnataka music, drama and performing arts in the Sinhala, Tamil and English mediums have been completed thus far. The Commissioner General of Examination says steps will be taken to conduct the practical exams for the subjects of dancing, Bharatanatyam and Oriental music as soon as possible. The Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission says it commenced a special investigation regarding the delay in the marking of A-level answer scripts. Finally, in your sports news, the second test of Ireland's tour of Sri Lanka began today at the Galle International Cricket Stadium. Ireland won the toss and chose to bat first. The Irish captain Andy Balbirnie won the toss and decided to bat first. At lunch, Ireland were 106 for 3 wickets with skipper Andy Balbirnie unbeaten on 57. The Irish team entered the field today with 3 changes. Paul Starling, Matthew Humphreys and Graham Hume have been called back to the Irish team, replacing Murray Cummings, George Dockrell and Mark Adair, who played in the first match. Sri Lanka enters the second test with no changes to the team. Accordingly, Peter Moore opened the Irish innings with James McCallum. If Sri Lanka wins this match, this will be their 100th test match win. Viewers can watch this match live on TV1. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. For the News First team, I've been Senita Sena Nayaka. Take care and stay safe.